Hello, everyone. Good morning. I know you don't know that I divorced my wife. And in this video today, it's very painful, but I'm going to tell you the reason why I divorced my wife. By the way, people have said if you do your eyes like this, maybe 50 times per day, and you keep doing that, you do that every day, that is going to make your eyes to be better. So my wife and I divorced. Basically, I can say I divorced her. So why and what happened is what I'm going to tell you in this video. I'm not telling you so that you come to me for with pity party because life goes on is a principle I've learned a long time ago. So I'm going just going to tell the story. I'm going to be brief in like 5 or 3 minutes. I'll be done. So I sit on the edge of the warm sofa, hands clasped, like a man holding on to something that's already slipped. The lamps are low. Outside the neighborhood, breathe. Distant TVs, a motorcycle passing, a dog barking. I look at a photograph on the coffee table. Us, younger, laughing. My voice starts steady, then freeze. I was bittered. So I remember when we first met. She was all fire and stubborn kindness, the kind of woman who fixed whatever needed fixing and never asked for praise. We promised each other a life, simple, honest. We were both kids then, dreaming big in a small town. I can still see the way she'd bite her lip when she was thinking, like she had secrets she wanted to share with the world, but was just too polite to shout. And most time we are talking on the street, you see her holding flowers, holding leaves. And I think that's a sign. I thought love would be the thing that held everything steady. But love doesn't pay the bills. And love, no matter how fierce, doesn't stop the slow erosion that starts when money becomes the myth of every argument. At first, it was small: late rent, a missed phone payment, a hurried apology, and promises to do better. We tightened belts, sold things, picked up extra shifts. Pride didn't let us ask for help. We swallowed our shame and kept going like a couple of people pedaling harder the moment the boat starts to leak. Then came debts that lived in the margins of our lives. My name on one list, her name on another, medical bills for her mother who needed care, school fees for the kids. We wasn't we wasn't expecting to struggle with. The pressure from relatives who thought marriage meant a single household could cover a whole clan. Money became a language we spoke poorly. I'd mention a budget and see her eyes go cold. She'd suggest selling my old tools and I'd tighten my jaw. Every suggestion sounded like an accusation. Every silence was a ledger entry. Family didn't help. They loved us, but they also had expectations, responsibilities that weren't ours but became ours anyway. We raised you too, they'd say. You must be the pillar. And pillars crack when under constant load. Her mother needed care at night. My father wanted help with his business during the day. We traded time for obligations until there was nothing left for us. Family favors turned into family demands. We started measuring success in how many people we could carry, not how healthy our marriage was. I began to resent that my marriage felt like a branch on a tree that everyone else climbed. Oh, but the real damage was quieter, little betrayals that wore us down. I lied more, not because I wanted to deceive her, but because I wanted to protect her from the shame of our failures. I told her the landlord was patient when he wasn't. I said I'd paid one bill when I hadn't. She lied in her own way about picking up extra work, about speaking to relatives who pressured her into taking loans she hid in a drawer. We had secrets of omission, little cabinets where each of us stashed the truth. Those cabinets swelled into doors until doors wouldn't close. Arguments mutated into rituals which circle the same volcano. You don't understand. You never help. If you just had a job, like the kids learned to freeze when our voices rose. Once while we shouted about a school fee, our youngest our youngest sat between us with her drawing oblivious, and it felt like she was trying to glue us together with crayons. That image still burns. One small hand holding a purple sun above our heads while we tore at each other over numbers. I blame her for nights when we couldn't eat properly. She blamed me for taking the family down prideful roads. We both were right and both were cruel. There were moments of tree of tenderness that made the rest worse. The way she would bring me tea and sit close enough that our knees touched, or how she'd braid the child's hair at dawn. Those small kindnesses were like bandages on a wound that needed surgery. They kept me open, but hope is a dangerous thing when it masks a deeper rot. You can hope a storm will pass and still drown. Financial strain taught us where our boundaries were, and our families taught us how easily those boundaries could be ignored. When the money dried up, the hidden loans surfaced. The unpaid phone bills led to cut off lines, and one morning the electricity was gone. I stood in the dark and looked at her face in the faint light from the steep street lamp, and I saw something I couldn't fix no matter how I rearranged the ledgers. Her eyes had a distance I couldn't breach. They held exhaustion and a kind of surrender that had nothing to do with love. We tried counseling once, 2 sessions. We sat across from a woman with a notebook who asked gentle questions. The room smelled like antiseptic and plastic. Hope. We both told her things we already knew. We repeated the same apologies we said to each other in the kitchen at midnight. It helped for a night. Then the landlord came calling again, and the old conversations swallowed any new ones. You can go to therapy, but the bills don't get therapy. Hmm. Hmm. There were no explosive betrayals, no dramatic betrayal with another person, just a long mutual wearing down. It made the decision feel less like a single act and more like a consequence. The moment I signed the papers, it thought it would lead like defeat. Instead, it felt like exhale. The first time I said out loud, I want a divorce, it sounded like a confession. But it was not a confession, it was a reality. She looked at me with a gaze I don't recognize, relief and grief, braided together, and she nodded. And that was what happened. This is just a story, it's a fiction. I'm not divorcing my wife, and I can never divorce my wife. This is a fiction. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.